I will be covering the reading of Revelation 17 because nothing is what it appears to be. One of the seven angels who had poured out the plagues came over and talked with me. Come with me, he said, and I will show you what is going to happen to the notorious prostitute who sits upon the many waters of the world. The kings of the world had had immoral relations with her, and the people of the earth had been made drunk by the wine of her immorality. So the angel took me in spirit into the wilderness. There I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet animal that had 7 heads and 10 horns, written all over with blasphemy against Jah. So the district of Columbia, that's where she sits. Columbia, named after the goddess, is located in Washington, D.C., Virginia, Maryland, as in the land of Mary, the Virgin Mary. The 7 hills of Rome, the 7 hills of Washington, D.C. There are sister cities. What happened? This took place during the Inquisition. A mysterious caption was written on her forehead: Babylon, the great mother of prostitutes and of idol worship everywhere around the world. I could see that she was drunk, drunk with the blood of the martyrs of Jehoshua that she had killed, and I stared at her in horror. And when the Lamb opened the fifth seal, I saw under the altar the souls of those who had been slain for the word of Yah and for the testimony that they had upheld. The stoning of Stephen. This is when the second kingdom fell, the southern kingdom. But Jah also told them that these descendants of his will leave this land and live in a foreign country, and there become slaves for 400 years. But I will punish the nations that enslaved them, Yah told them, and afterwards my people will return to this land of Yasharel and worship me here. The ones that did the stoning of Stephen, a Jewish cult of freemen, as in Freemasons. Some joined themselves to Rome, and then the other ones didn't, and they actually died for our book and became martyrs. Okay, so all of the people answered, His blood be on us and on our children, and that's why Judah went into captivity for 400 years. This is when the church got drunk of the blood of the saints. This is in the reading of Acts 8. Paul was in complete agreement with the killing of Stephen, and a great wave of persecution of the believers began that day, sweeping over the church in Jerusalem, and everyone except the apostles fled into Judea and Samaria. These are the Boulets, the ones behind the Babylonian system, the ones that claim to be Hebrews but they're not because they serve the synagogue of Satan. These are the ones that sold themselves out to Rome. These are our gatekeepers. Abba is coming to break our chains, and slaves don't have money and possessions like these people have. And even here, on the money, you can see that there's a black man in there as well. So let's not focus so much on the outside, but the spirit of the man, says the spirit. Because also the Hamites were black too. Well, our people are still sitting in the four corners of reservations, waiting for a rest truck to bring them water. This is another thing I need to share. And when the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, like now, a new tribe of people shall come onto the earth from many colors, classes, and creeds, and who by their actions and their deeds, which is testing the spirit, shall make the earth green again. And they will be known as what? The warriors of the rainbow. According to the Hopis, we all started melanated, but as the times pass, we will become these four colors. So these four colors represents all the nations of the world. Reading of Romans, it tells you that the Gentile nations are grafted onto the tree of life. In place of the tree branch they broke off, and that was the tribe of Dan. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Before the fall of the Watchers, he gave each of them a supervising angels. This is the Watchers. But then when the Watchers fell, these nations that they were supervising, they became gods and goddesses to these very nations. But he didn't assign an angel to Jasharel because he was over Jasharel. So before the fall of the Watchers, they were keeping with Abba's laws as well. In the book of Revelation, the Song of Moses, I say this every morning. Great and marvelous are your doings, Adonai Yah, Almighty. Just and true are your ways, O King of ages. Who shall not fear you, O Adonai, and glorify your name? For you alone are holy, and all nations will come and worship before you. You see, All nations. So, in the reading of Revelations 20, when they do the beheading the second time around, it's just not going to be for the Christians. The first time it happened to Yah's believe the followers of Yahushua, for Yah, right? The second time around is going to be for anybody that does not want to get into the new system that they're going to bring about. It's just not going to be to Christians. It's going to be for everybody. Notice how everything is being set on fire right now? They're doing that because they're going to start to set up smart cities. And these smart cities, in order for you to be in the smart city, you're going to need the chip right there. And the ones that do not comply and get the chips, when they go into the FEMA camps, because they're the only ones that's going to have shelter for the people, they're losing everything right now. Well, that's where the plastic coffins and the guillotines are at. So, in these smart cities, everything is linked. It's going to be linked to your phones, the houses, everything is going to be linked to these smart devices, including the Internet of Bodies, because it's going to go into the person, right? Smart means to hurt, if you didn't know that.
Necessary for people to believe this information in order to weaken democratic institutions. You just have to flood a country's public square with enough raw sewage. You just have to raise enough questions, spread enough dirt, plant enough conspiracy theorizing that citizens no longer know what to believe. Once they lose trust in their leaders, in mainstream media, in political institutions, in each other, in the possibility of truth, the game's won.
This isn't a reading on Micah 4 because a lot of people don't seem to get this right. But in the last days, Mount Zion will be the most renowned of all mountains of the world. In other words, the restrainer will be gathering her people, and we will be leaving this world behind. Okay, and that's when the one that's being restrained comes into power then. That's what happens. There's no rapture. It's a gathering of his people. That coming day, Adonai says that he will bring back his punished people, sick, lame, and dispossessed. So you see, these are the people that fell under the curses because the judgment has been lifted off out of us and is put now onto the enemies of Joshua. So what happens is the people, they're going to lose their lives. They're not going to be with Yah because he's gathering the bride right now. So you need to make sure that you're part of the bride and not the church, because Rome gave you the church. Okay? So because the world, just like the times of Noah, gets redone again. So the people, again, the ones that get beheaded, will not be here. I don't know where you guys are going to go, but you're not going to be with Abba and Yahushua in Jerusalem, because he will be gathering his people now and taking them to Mount Zion now. So the scripture says, but the one who perseveres to the end will be saved, or the ones that endure to the end. It doesn't say the ones that are beheaded will be saved. And finally, the scarlet animal and his 10 horns, which represent 10 kings who will reign with him, all hate the woman and will strike her and leave her naked and ravished by fire. So these 10 kings are the BRICS nations. And you notice how America is not part of the BRICS nations.